I still hear the clinking of champagne glasses, like bells tolling for something I didn't know I'd just lost. It was supposed to be a night of elegance, a glittering evening under chandeliers and curated smiles where my mother's foundation hosted its annual charity gala, the kind of event that made the society pages that she spent months planning with military precision. But somewhere between the second course and the silent auction, everything cracked. And not loudly, no. It broke like porcelain under velvet. Quiet, but permanent. She humiliated him. My mother, my polished, poised, impossible-to-please mother, looked at the man I loved and stripped him bare with a single sentence. She called him cheap, right there in front of CEOs and socialites, with her voice soft enough to carry but sharp enough to cut. I don't even think he heard her at first. But I did, and maybe that's worse, because I didn't stop her. I didn't defend him. I just froze, smiled through it like I was still her daughter, still her little puppet in a gown she picked out. Like I didn't feel my heart shattering with every word that slipped from her lips, dressed up as charm, but dripping with poison. It wasn't just the word. It was how she said it. The tight smile, the faux concern, the way she tilted her head and said, "Is that the watch you wore, darling? It's charming, very practical. I suppose not everyone cares about appearances." And then that pause, that awful, knowing pause, where the whole table went silent, unsure whether to laugh or wince, where I waited for someone, anyone, to say something else, to change the subject, to pretend they didn't hear what we all heard. But no one did, and he just smiled back, that quiet, proud smile he wears when he's hurt, but pretending not to be. He nodded, like her words didn't matter, like he wasn't bleeding inside, like he didn't feel the room pull away from him. God. I saw it in his eyes, the moment something inside him closed. And me, I sat there. I swallowed hard, lifted my glass, and smiled, like I was grateful to be there, like I wasn't silently screaming. I hate myself for that. That one moment, so quick, so small, somehow rewrote everything. It built this chasm between us that I haven't been able to cross since. I think about it all the time. That silence. That smile. That single glance between us after she said it. The one that said, "You're not on my side, are you?" And the worst part? He was right. How did I let her do that to him? How did I let myself? Was I always going to be more hers than mine? It was such a small thing, really. One comment. One flicker of insecurity that slipped through my mouth before. I could catch it. I wasn't trying to hurt him. I swear I wasn't. I don't know. I was tired, or stressed, or trying too hard to keep everything balanced. We were getting ready for the gala. He stood in the mirror, adjusting the sleeves of his blazer, this navy one he's had for years. Not trendy, not designer, but it fits him perfectly. The kind of blazer that says, "I'm not trying to impress anyone. I just want to feel like myself." And I was standing behind him in a dress my mother picked out. The fabric cost more than his entire outfit, and we both knew it. He asked, "Do I look okay?" With that smile, hopeful, soft, like a boy asking to be enough. And I said, without thinking, "Maybe. Maybe just don't wear that watch tonight." God. The silence that followed. It rang louder than any scream. He looked down at the watch, like it had betrayed him, like I'd just confirmed every fear he ever had about not fitting in. I tried to backpedal, of course. Not because it's bad. No, not at all. It's just, my mom notices things like that. You know how she is. He didn't say anything. He just nodded. Slow, measured, like he was trying to protect me from his reaction. That's what made it worse. He didn't argue. He didn't roll his eyes or snap. He just folded inward. Quietly. I remember watching him take it off and place it on the he wasn't enough. But I also didn't tell him that he was. Not when it mattered. Not when he needed to hear it most. He met me at my most raw, my most insecure, and instead of standing with him, I tried to shield myself. From the shame I imagined my mother would throw our way, and I told myself I was protecting him. But the truth is, I was protecting her image, not his heart. What does that say about me? What does that say about love, when we start choosing survival over honesty? Can you really love someone if you're afraid to be seen with their truth? The morning after the gala felt colder than it should have. It was one of those sunlit Sundays that begged you to pretend nothing was wrong, to drink coffee slowly, to laugh about the night before, to be soft with each other. But everything between us felt sharp, tight, like we were both holding our breath and didn't know why. He didn't mention what happened, not the watch, not my mother's comment, not the silence in the car ride home. He just made coffee like always, humming to himself like he was trying to reclaim the normal, but I saw the way he wouldn't look at me when he handed me the mug, the way his smile didn't quite reach his eyes anymore. I tried to fix it with small things. A touch on the shoulder, a soft thank you, a joke about how absurd the event had been, how over the top it all was. But none of it landed. It was like there was a glass wall between us now. I could see him, but I couldn't reach him. Not really. And when I finally tried to talk about it, to say I was sorry, that I hated what she said, that I should have said something, he just shook his head. "It's fine," he said. "She is who she is." But that's not what he meant. What he meant was, "And maybe you are too." That's when it started to rot. Quietly, the little rituals we used to share started slipping. He stopped holding my hand when we walked down the IG street. He didn't bring home my favorite tea anymore. He'd go to bed before me without saying goodnight. Not in anger, but in exhaustion. Like he was slowly walking away, step by quiet step. And I let him. I kept trying to pretend we were okay, that it was just a phase, that people drift sometimes and then come back. But every time he pulled away a little more, I pulled back too. Not out of pride, but fear. Fear that if I pushed too hard, he'd tell me the truth, that I hurt him more than he wanted to admit, that I reminded him of everything he thought I wasn't, that when he looked at me now, he didn't see safety, he saw judgment. One night, we were brushing our teeth side by side, and I looked at him in the mirror. He was right there, so physically close, and I felt like I didn't know him anymore. Like I'd lost something I didn't know how to name. And then he said it, barely above a whisper, like he wasn't even talking to me. "I don't feel like myself around you anymore." That broke me, because I knew what he meant. He wasn't angry, he wasn't trying to punish me, he was just tired. Tired of shrinking, of feeling like who he was might not be enough for the world I kept trying to drag him into, and I didn't have the words to fix it. Not then, maybe not ever. It wasn't a fight, it wasn't loud, it was just slow erosion. Two people slowly forgetting how to stand in the same room with their hearts still open. Can love survive silence? Can something still be beautiful after it's been bruised this deeply? I can feel the spiral even now. It's not obvious, not the way I imagined it would be. No dramatic breakdowns or clear moments of, "I'm done with you." No final blow, no angry confrontation. Just this slow, painful pulling apart, like two people tugging in opposite directions without realizing it until they're miles away. I've been asking myself, what's wrong with me? Every day, and not in the cute, "I'm so silly" kind of way I used to when I'd have a bad day at work. No, this is different. This is a raw, desperate question, like I'm trying to peel myself open and figure out where I broke. Why didn't I defend him when it mattered? I keep playing the same scene over and over in my head. The gala. His face when she said it, when he nodded and pretended it didn't hurt. The way I froze. The way I didn't say anything. I can still hear the tiny crack in his voice when he told me he didn't feel like himself around me anymore. And every time I replay it, it's like I'm the one who shatters all over again. That moment was my mistake, but it's him who has to carry the weight of it. I wonder if I'm just too much like her. I never wanted to be. I never wanted to become that person who looks at someone and decides they're too much, too different, too simple for the world I want to exist in. But that's exactly what I did. And the worst part is, I'm starting to think maybe it's easier this way. I think maybe I've been hiding behind her approval for so long that I've forgotten how to see myself clearly, how to see us together. I've noticed how I've started to look at him differently. It's like I can't stop measuring him against the people around me, the ones who don't have to think twice about the price of a dinner, the ones who can slip into a room and never feel out of place. And the more I do that, the more I can feel this quiet disgust creeping in. What's wrong with him? Why doesn't he get it? I hate myself for even thinking those words, but I can't stop it. I feel like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, watching everything good between us slip away, and I don't know how to stop it. The guilt. It sits like a stone in my stomach, heavy and unyielding. I think about him, about how much he gave me before I even knew I was taking, how he listened to me when I vented, how he stayed even when I was cold and distant, how he trusted me enough to let me in even when I pushed him away. But now I can't even look at him without feeling like I'm failing him. And that's the real punch in the gut. I'm failing him by not being able to be enough. I'm failing him by being so afraid of losing my place in my mother's world that I'm losing him instead. Why couldn't I just stand by him? Why couldn't I just be brave for once and say, no, he's good enough. He's more than enough. I wanted to protect him. That's what I keep telling myself. I wanted to shield him from the uncomfortable truth that he didn't fit the mold my mother created. But what I didn't realize was that in trying to protect him from her, I was pushing him into her world. The one that tells you that you have to measure up, that you have to be perfect to belong. I'm drowning in this confusion. I can't make sense of it. I keep asking myself if we were ever truly us, or if we were just two people clinging to something that was already slipping through our fingers. And now I can't even talk to him about it. I can't open my mouth without sounding like I'm full of excuses. I can't face him without feeling like I've already lost him. I feel like a failure. Not because I hurt him, but because I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to put him back together after I've torn him apart. Do we even have a chance now? Am I too far gone, too deep in my own shame to ever find my way back to him? The hardest part is that I still don't know if it's over. We've been moving through this haze for weeks now, not fighting, not talking, just existing beside each other. We've become strangers, not because we want to be, but because we've run out of words to say. Because the silence between us has become too loud to ignore, and the things we should have said to each other are still stuck in our throats. I've tried to act like everything is fine, to smile like I used to hold his hand like it means something. But I can see the cracks, feel them widening between us. Every time he looks at me now, it's like I'm seeing him through a fog. The distance is there, not in miles, but in hearts. I can't reach him anymore, and he can't reach me. He's tried to move on, not in a dramatic way, but in those quiet, little acts of moving forward. He's been picking up old hobbies, hanging out with friends more. And each time I see him smile, really smile, I wonder if it's because he's finally found peace, or if it's because he's finally let go of me. I keep waiting for him to say something, anything, that might bring us back. But he doesn't. He won't. And deep down, I know it's because he's already said everything. I don't feel like myself around you anymore. That's all he needed to say. I just wasn't listening. I never asked for forgiveness. Not out loud. I never told him I was sorry for what I did, for what I let happen. I keep thinking about how simple it would have been to just take his hand and say, I was wrong. But I didn't. I couldn't. Maybe because I was too proud, or maybe because I was afraid of what he'd say, afraid he'd tell me he couldn't. Forgive me. That he couldn't be with someone who kept making these same mistakes. And I think part of me didn't want to hear that, didn't want to admit that I might have already lost him. But now I'm stuck in this limbo. I can't move forward because I'm holding on to a version of him that doesn't exist anymore, and I can't go back because I'm too ashamed of the person I've become. And I think about what would have happened if I had just stood up for him. If I had just been on his side. Would we be here in this quiet agony, or would we still be two people who knew how to love each other without hesitation? I look back on that night, on that comment, and wonder if I could take it all back. But I know I can't. And it kills me, because that one small moment, that one mistake, has haunted me in a way I didn't expect. It's like I can't escape it. Every time I close my eyes, I see him standing in front of that mirror, taking off his watch like he was taking off a piece of himself. Every time I try to reach for him, I feel the distance that I put there. Maybe I thought I was protecting him, but what I really did was push him away. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if we'll find a way back to each other, or if we even should. But I do know that a part of me will always be stuck in that moment. The one where I chose the world over him. The one where I made him feel like he wasn't enough. And every time I think about it, every time I realize what I've lost, it feels like my heart is breaking all over again. It's been months. Months since everything came crashing down. Months since I last saw him, since I last felt the weight of his hand in mine. Some days, I wonder if it was all real, if I was just living in a dream. But then, I remember. The hurt, the guilt, the silence that's never fully left me. It was real. It still is. I've changed. I think I had to. Time moves on, whether you want it to or not, and at some point, I had to stop holding on to the past. I had to accept that we may never go back to what we were, that we may never even exist in the way I imagined. I've learned to fill the silence with other things, work, friends, my own thoughts, but it's never quite enough. Sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet and I'm lying in bed alone, I wonder if he ever thinks about me. Does he think about what happened the way I do? Does he ever wish we had tried harder, fought harder? Does he regret the way things ended? Or is he better now, free of the weight I placed on him? I hate myself for wishing he'd reach out, for hoping that he'll send me a message or call as if the past could be undone with a few words. But I know it's selfish. I know I can't expect that from him. He deserves someone who stands by him, someone who doesn't crumble when things get hard, someone who doesn't let fear take over and ruin everything. But God, I miss him. I miss his laugh. I miss the way his eyes would light up when he talked about the things he loved. I miss the comfort of knowing that no matter what happened, I had someone who understood me, even when I didn't understand myself. It's strange, but I can still hear his voice sometimes, calling out to me, the way he said my name when everything was okay. It's like I'm holding on to a version of him that no longer exists. A version I'll never get back. I've learned to live with the fact that I may never have closure, that the questions will always linger, whether I did the right thing, whether I could have been better, whether he would have stayed if I hadn't made that mistake. But the truth is, I'll never know the answers. And maybe I'm afraid to know them too, because the answers might be the ones I'm too scared to face. Months later, I've realized that there's a part of me that will always love him, a part of me that will carry the weight of what happened forever. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's just how it has to be, but no matter how much time passes, I know I'll always wonder about the road not taken, the version of us that could have been. And every time I see someone else holding their partner's hand, laughing, together in the way we used to, it stabs me in the chest like a reminder of what I lost. I can't go back, I know that. I can't undo the mistakes I made, but sometimes, just sometimes, I wish I could. I wish I could find a way to tell him that I was wrong, that I see everything now, that I would have chosen him. And even if he's moved on, if he's with someone else, someone who knows how to appreciate him better than I ever did, there's a part of me that will always hold on to the hope that he'll remember me, remember us, and that one day we'll both be okay. But maybe that's just the wishful, thinking of someone who doesn't know how to let go, how to let go.